phones, well, not necessarily just phones, but any screens. But if you take an iPhone, turn it sideways, open up my web page, you can just get that image on it, and it's not like I needed to make an application for that. So I think the phone technology has moved beyond the point where you would, I mean, you could put a comic reading app on your phone, but for the most part, you can just do it in whichever way you want.
I don't even have an iPhone yet, but I was just wondering.
Well, actually, Frontalot, the iPod was developed as a method of listening to his songs on the road, on the go. Little known fact.
Good
the
to know.
development actually, if you read the development notes. You guys know?
I don't know.
Mobile stuff for you. Scott had something.
Yeah, I was
You usually
wondering
have something good.
if a cartoonist has got good material, pretty good marketing, let's say. Maybe not a marketing genius, but pretty good, right?
Okay.
What's the break point? How many uniques a day do you think is the point at which that person's going to be quitting their day job?
Ooh, that's the Andy effect.
Figure they live in St. Louis.
Is that median?
So you're an average American citizen.
Okay.
But it depends on what they're selling and like what their main product is. Like I can't sell T-shirts, but Rich makes all his money off T-shirts. So
Every audience is different. Every audience is going to be comprised. Like they're going to be your hardcore fans who will spend, you know, $500 every year, and then there's your fans that might buy a sticker. And it depends on what kind of balance you have of those two kind of fans. If you've got, you know, like Andy's got all the $500 fans, and you know I've got all the $1 fans, so I need a lot more than he does.
I think the record is 7 readers. There's these 7 guys in Dubai.
Well, let's.
But then again, there's people like 4chan, that website 4chan, which will have 500 million visits a month, and he can't pay his some rent.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. You've got a collection now. You probably have been in contact with, you know, a handful of guys who are making it work. Guys or women. And
what are the average numbers people want?
yeah, I mean, like each of them had a breakpoint. Each of them could look and say, yeah, it's about 16,000, 20,000, 10,000.
For a standard comic that doesn't do high-end stuff, let's exclude. I mean, Andy can probably could get by on what, a few thousand if you had to a day.
I think when I had like maybe 1,500.
Okay, but maybe for somebody who does
That's all I needed.
for somebody who does like banner ads, comic books, and T-shirts, it's probably 15,000 to 20,000 people a day.
I think once you hit 5 digits, you should start thinking about
over
it.
10,000. Maybe if you have a roommate, you know, maybe 10,000 range.
But now the question is that a moving target? 5 years ago,
Yes.
is that a different number?
But yes, actually. it
Which
is.
direction is it going?
You need more now than you did.
Really?
I think so, because there's so much more out there to compete for your attention and the same dollars. Really?
I don't think so.
I think advertising rates have improved, and people's resistance to purchasing things online has gone down. What happened?
I don't think, because I feel like I have less overall traffic now than I did in 2001.
But your income's the same or
My
better.
money is the same or better.
Well, I'm not talking about an established property. I'm talking about like a new, someone who's just starting out. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's harder for an established property because you can get forgotten about,
Yes,
or you can be
that's
taken
true.
for granted. So yeah, I mean, maybe if you can get 10,000 people going through in a given day, there's no reason you can't find a business model that would let you live in Poughkeepsie. Or is Poughkeepsie expensive? All right, Little Rock.
This process that you described, you're kind of like ducking a day job and ducking corporate America. Could you ever see that this type of energy could affect politics and maybe we get away from lobbyists and elections the way that the web could do the same thing for running our country that you guys have done for running your lives?
Maybe we had militias.
Republicans for Voldemort.
John's actually had some good luck with political stuff. He does T-shirts that says Republicans for Voldemort on it.
And there's one right there.
It's pretty subversive. Like a lot of people give it to their Republican family members who don't know who Voldemort is. What do you guys think? I have no politics that are realistic. So what do you guys think? I'm like libertarian with a laser gun.
I don't know. There's literally tens of thousands of Republicans of Voldemort bumper stickers and T-shirts out there at this point. So I gotta imagine it's gotta have some impact because I keep seeing blog links from people who see it out in the wild, and people keep calling me up and they're like, "I saw your sticker yesterday," and I gotta imagine that it may not have a huge effect, but it might have a very little tiny effect. So I guess if there's enough effects added together.
But I think you're asking about our do-it-yourself attitude. Like, is that your question? That
Like this attitude could lead to
It's
political.
very democratic. What you do is very democratic.
That's true.
It's not like a corporation is deciding what everybody's gonna buy.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it's unique to us, though. I think
It's the power of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the power of the internet because bloggers do the same thing, and there are so many small scenes on the internet where there's a small group of people like us making a living from doing that one thing. And they don't do that.
Of course, if net neutrality goes away, then that's all over. So.
Right, then we'd all
Net
be
neutrality.
epidemics.
I think that a congressional representative in Kansas is running with a similar platform to this. Like he's actually doing most of his promotion on the internet and using humor. And I don't know if he won or not, but I know that there are people who are doing do-it-yourself campaigns this way. So it is possible, but I don't know if we're really qualified to say that it'll happen. I hope it happens. That's kind of cool.
But you could be a political party, umbrella.
I'd happily be mayor of some town. That's a good point, though.
How much more time do we have?
I think it's 1/4 after. Maybe we want to do 1 or 2 more questions and then Frontalot's magic tree.
Yeah.
How about her? So somebody else is actually holding her arm up. Oh, that's patience. You want to stand up? Screen.
As webcomics are rapidly evolving, do you think they'll pose a threat to regular comics?
As webcomics evolve, will they become a threat to regular comics?
They already are.
You guys want this one? You got this one.
I think regular comics are more a threat to themselves than a threat to
Yeah, well,
You got a good job
I
of
think
that.
the big attitude difference. Actually, you know what? Maybe the difference between comics and webcomics is if somebody's reading John's comic, that doesn't automatically mean they can't afford mine. So I think that our attitude is different. Like you can read as many as you have time for. So I never really thought about it in terms of that. Maybe if they're already reading enough, they don't need it. But at the same time, maybe if they're reading a lot of comics, they're more inclined to now start picking up comic books. That's a hard one.
I think there's a lot of confusion between webcomics being a threat to mainstream superhero comic books and webcomics being a threat to print comics. Because there's no reason people are going to stop buying comics in book form. We come here with our webcomics in book form that someone's already read on the web, and they still buy it in book form. So there's no question about whether the two mediums are threatened by each other, but the superhero comic book industry, which is not nearly as booming as it used to be, they should feel threatened because they're pretty much hanging on to ideas from 50 years ago at any given time. So
You know what though? And there's an interesting correlation is when you go to shop